Welcome to J21 Greenhouse, a year-round greenhouse we built in Grand Junction, Colorado. This is our new greenhouse. It was built to be a year-round greenhouse. After watching a bunch of YouTube videos about all the different styles and ways to build greenhouses, I decided instead of going with the Wallapini style where you dig down into the ground, I decided to do it solar powered. And the reason is because if I dig a hole 6 feet in the ground where I'm at, I have standing groundwater at 6 feet. So if I dig down 4 or 5 feet, I would sink the heavy equipment gone into the mud. So I chose to go a different route. I dug down, when I built the foundation, I dug down 2 feet into the earth and put in a 1.5 inch layer of this styrofoam board, which you can see right there. And there's about 1 foot of dirt on top of the foam, and then there's 4 inches of concrete on top of the dirt. And the foundation is built using ICF forms. These are new Durabrand concrete forms. They have 2 inches of foam on the inside and on the outside. So the whole floor system is completely thermally isolated from the ground to hold heat in. And the way it's going to be heated is 4 thermal zones of water heating. And there's one of them. So down underneath the floor in the dirt layer, underneath the dirt layer, just on top of the foam, are 2 zones for the heat. And then there's also 2 more zones in the concrete, one on each end of the building. And it's 24 wide by 40 feet long with a 12-foot ceiling peak in the middle. And the reason I went with 12 foot was it's big enough to be able to grow pretty much any kind of a tree I would be interested in. So I really wanted to grow a banana, an avocado, mango, anything like that, some citrus trees, and grow them year-round. And then for the vegetables, we can have a year-round vegetable garden here in the front. And we were just going to use IBC totes cut in half. And you can see there's a lot of room to grow a whole lot of vegetables if we fill up this whole front, 40 feet long of those things. And then here in the middle where the highest peak is, we have a row of trees. And then here in the back where it's partial sun, we can have a row of vegetables that don't need full sunshine. So whole nother row can be placed back in here. So there's a whole lot of square footage for vegetables. And we just finished construction in, I think, March. Got it signed off March or April. And here we are coming towards the end of May in 2024 and just finishing up some construction things. We still have to do spray foam insulation, which we probably won't do until the fall when it starts getting cold. We'll just spray foam these 6-inch walls and the 10-inch ceiling with spray foam solid. The plastic panels are made by a company called Galena, and it's actually triple wall. It's 16 millimeter thick. So it's the company says the R value of those panels is 2.6 as compared to the wall-board, which is like 0.6. So it'll be really easy to heat in the winter. And a friend of mine who has a greenhouse, their family has owned greenhouses in Palisade for years, told me that my problem will be keeping it cool in the summer. And it's only getting to the 90s here right now, but I can already see that's the problem. Because even on a 40-degree day, with full sunshine, it gets well over 100 degrees inside of here. So as it gets up into the 90s and closer to 100, I'm going to have 2 air conditioners running full time. And I've got those already in place. I just got to do some final hookups and run a water tap over here to the building. Until I get that, I can't really plant anything inside. So the walls are 2x6 construction. The ceilings are 2x10s on 16-inch centers, and the walls are 2x6 by 16-inch centers, except for the side walls, they're 24-inch centers, since there's no load on the end. To meet building code, we had to use 3 2x12s built, and I built that beam in place by myself up on top of the scaffolding. That was quite a project, but it's not too bad to do it as long as you have some good scaffolding. And then the front beam that holds up the front corner is only 2 2x10s, and we built that on the ground. That was a mistake, so it took about 4 or 5 of us to lift it up in place and get it all secured. And these panels, they come in they're 4 by 10 feet. So the way I built it was, I didn't want to have to cut them, at least the front, and then I sized the top so they were exactly 5 feet, so I could cut them in half with no waste. The one thing that I learned, these panels have factory connectors, and you can see right there, it leaves a 1-inch gap between the panels. I was not aware of that when I sized everything, so every time, each panel, it gets 1 more inch of space, so it got a little off when I got to the end, but it doesn't really affect anything other than the screw placement, screwing the panels down. But that's something to be aware of. If you plan on using these panels with the factory connectors, it does add an inch gap between the sides. There's the basics of what I got going on here with the year-round greenhouse. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, and all that kind of stuff. And I'll be coming out with more videos on how I work out the cooling system, how I work out the heating system this fall, and the electrical system and the automation system. So there'll be a lot more videos about that stuff coming out, so stay tuned. And thanks for checking it out.